Hello and welcome to Unemployed to Unstoppable, episode 51. I think we're about 13 seasons in now. We're in the Premier League with Millwall. It's our 7th season with Millwall. We've won trophies at last. We didn't win anything. We were at Budafok. You can see the history on the screen there. But we're getting towards the business end of the season. About 30 games in. Still in a European trophy. So let's see how we're getting on. Let's see what we've got still to play for. And welcome back. So as you can see, we're 6th in the table. We've got 51 points from 30 games. Bournemouth just behind us. If they win their game in hand, can catch us up and overtake us. But we're not doing bad in general terms. We've still got Chelsea within touching distance, 6 points ahead of us. And I think we've got a little bit of momentum. We might be able to pick up some points in the final kind of 8 games of the season. But 6 points is a lot to overcome in that. So we might have to settle for another season in the Europa League. But we are in the Europa League, and I think if you do win that competition, there is a chance of getting into the Champions League as well. So again, a lot to play for, not many games left. If we look in at the schedule of what we've got left, I mean, we've got a second leg of Europa League, round of 16 still to come, but I don't think there's really any really super difficult games in there. I mean, Newcastle's obviously one to pick out. Maybe Chelsea to a lesser extent at this stage of this many seasons into the save. But we're not doing too bad. We've got a good chance of winning the majority of them games. We're a goal up against Sevilla as well in the last 16, which we'll see that game on camera in a minute. Other things to kind of keep you up to date with, dynamic-wise, we're still looking quite good. I've cleared out a lot of the unhappy players by appeasing them. Vancharov still wants some more game time, but it's getting more and more difficult to shoehorn him in because other players are playing so well. Kravtsov as well, he wants to start more games, and to be honest, he probably needs to now because he's getting slightly better than Mercier at left back. In terms of tactics, we largely stick to the same 4-3-3 defence-wide. We just switch between what mentality we play and a little bit of transitional changes. But we have been experimenting with going with an attacking midfielder, such as in Tactic 2. And then occasionally we've been trying to get Codriano and Medina and Vinwazer on the pitch at the same time, which has made for some interesting games. But I don't think we're quite ready. I don't think we've got a strong enough midfield to play in that particular formation. So for the majority of games, we're sticking with this kind of normal. In terms of staff, again, we're still doing all right. I've not really rotated much in there. You probably could argue that I need to upgrade some of these to get us closer to that yellow line. Again, I need to let some contracts lapse and bring some other players in. In terms of competitions, still in the Premier League, obviously, still in Europa League, last 16, knocked out the FA Cup by Bournemouth, painstakingly knocked out in the semi-final of the Carabao Cup by Newcastle, which we were going to go and try and defend that. And I think we actually had a lead from the first leg as well, if I go back to where that game was. Yeah, so we lost 3-2 and we got beat on penalties. So it was a little bit heartbreaking. We were winning from the first leg 1-0. We got a 3-2 loss in the second leg. Got all the way to penalties and then we didn't quite make it over the line, which is disappointing. But again, you've got to take these knocks on the chin. You can't win everything. It doesn't happen that way. Scouting-wise, we've got a huge number of players. I keep chucking onto the short list. Lots of players on there. I'm particularly looking for young players and more defenders. And I think we need another couple of defenders to strengthen the team a little bit. In terms of transfers, there are a couple pre-arranged. Alessio Mancuso is going to go out. Again, we signed him on a free transfer ages ago. We finally agreed a fee and we're going to let him go. So a little bit of a profit on him. Miguel Villa, again, we got him as a young prospect to go in at attacking midfielder role when we were coming up from the Championship. It's not really quite worked out for him because we haven't ever transitioned to that attacking midfielder role. His potential's dropped off, so we're just going to let him go and join Celta Vigo. What we have done, though, is we've signed Guillaume Bordenova, a winger, on a free transfer. He comes in at 4-star current ability. He looks like an absolute wing wizard. So he'll give some competition to Johnson on the left-hand side. I think he looks like a phenomenal player and he'll really fit in the team. I know he's not an English player like I've been harping on about episode after episode, but I think he does strengthen the team and we're going to get him on a free transfer as well, which is massive. And then I've recently just put in a bid for a young centre-back from Real Madrid called Alvaro Blanco at 17 years old. But he has got a high potential threshold. He's 184 centimetres tall. He's good at tackling, marking and positioning. Just need his physicals to develop a little bit, but he could be quite a player long term. And if we can get him signed in time, we'll also be able to get him for a trained in England at under 21 level. So again, transfer wise, it's all going good. Club vision, again, everything's all looking positive. We're on course to make quite a lot of these ambitions. So we'll carry on with that. I think we're going to do it. The only one that we've not quite made yet is reach the latter stages of the Europa League. Pleased at the minute. I think we are going to make that though. Attacking football satisfied. We're not particularly goal hungry at the minute. I don't know why, but I just can't get them to create the chances that I think we deserve. Finances has bottomed out a little bit. We're not quite up where I think we should be, but we've got quite a small stadium, and unless there is some kind of stadium build on the horizon, I can't see that changing anytime soon. That largely catches you up with where we are. This is where the squad is. Things to note really is top goal scorer is Walter Medina. Top average rating is Andy Diouf, who just, despite only being 3-star, goes strength to strength. Top ability player, Walter Medina, who I think in the in the reports, is our first world-class player. So Millwall have their first world-class player. And I think Codrianu isn't that far behind. I think he's got potential to be world-class. So we could end up with 2 world-class strikers. We then just have to build the team around them to create the chances. All that being said, I'll click through. I'll get us ready to the first game, which is the second leg of the Europa League last 16, and then we'll throw a league game in afterwards as well. So stay tuned and hopefully we can get some goals. Welcome back. So here we go. Starting lineup. We've got Romero in goals. We've got Kravtsov coming in at left back. He needs some starts to keep him happy. Got Olander and Dewhurst coming in. Dewhurst, one of the young prospects, giving him a little bit of game time while we're trying to rest some of our other defenders. We've got Shahar at right back. Johnson in the deep line playmaker role. He's been nothing short of a phenomenon really. He's 3.5 star potential now. His stats are phenomenal. He's still got a little bit of development left to go, and we want to keep him long term. Topologlu playing on the left, as Juve's out with a minor injury at the minute. Got a couple of players suspended and out, so normally we'd have Calderon and Aliu in the centre half positions, but they're not available. And Vancherov's coming in the middle of the park just for a little bit of game time. Again, there's some other players that I'd quite like to get in there, like Peter Goodwin, from his development point of view, but we can't squeeze him in. He's out injured. Got Johnson on the left, got Vinwazer on the right, and Codrian who's coming up for some game time up front. And again, that's just the easiest, a little bit of burden on Walter Medina as we use him in the running in the Premier League. So that's what we've got. I think we're doing all right. There's just a few young players I've had to bring in from the under-21 squad to fill the bench, because we've got so many players out and we've let a few players go out on transfer. But that being said, we need to go out there and make sure we get this second leg over the line and don't have a repeat of the Newcastle game, because that was a particularly hard one to take. Because I thought if we'd beat Newcastle, I think we had a relatively straightforward game in the final. I think Newcastle went on to win that competition, but it was certainly an opportunity missed from our point of view. 50 minutes in, not a lot happening. Again, we've got a shot on target. We're playing a balanced approach because I don't want to go too gung-ho. However, if we do concede a goal, we will switch to attacking just to see if we can get our noses back in front. But more than content to grind out a 0-0 if that's what we need to do. First highlight coming to Sevilla. We're going to pick up the ball deep. Dewhurst a little bit shaky having him in at the back, but I think he's going to be good enough to develop the way we want. Codrianu down the right, playing with Shahar. Again, as long as we don't drop the ball too high up the park and lose a shot opportunity. Johnson's worked at the edge of the box, but he can't quite deliver the cross. And Sevilla will look to counter up the other end. Shahar picks it in. Vinwazer goes forward again. Topologlu through to Codrianu. He buries it, puts us 1-0 up on the night, 3-1 up on aggregate. So again, I'm not going to speak too early because I've done it before and I've given it the commentator's curse, but it's something to build on certainly for the rest of the first half and into the second half. We'll stick on a balanced mentality. Codrianu really unlucky to be playing behind Medina because he is an absolute phenomenon in himself, and between the two of them it's really hard to pick them apart. I've done some comparisons in the player view where you compare the two stats and you compare the two little web diagrams, and it's really hard to pick out which one is the better of the two players. However, Medina was scoring the goals. He got the starting nod, and he's got 20 goals for the season. So you could probably say that choice has been vindicated somewhat. However, Codriano, every time he comes on and scores goals, he puts in a stake for a first team berth. And if we can continue to develop the midfield and either push the Johnson role up into an attacking midfielder role to make us a little bit more creative and give us a bit of a more dynamic spark up front to create more chances, because as you can see we've only had 3 shots, 1 on target, 2 on target. That would be a high percentage chance of winning some games, I think. 76 minute header from a corner from them, but hopefully we can just walk the ball up the other end. Nice patient build up, playing the control possession into Vancharov. He plays a poor pass forward, and again I think Vancharov might have to make way for the rest of the game. Ball over the top, it's gone wide. I think Vancharov needs to drop out. We'll say goodbye to Villa. We'll give him a little bit of a run out, a bit of a swan song for him. Give him a game in Europe, but he will be leaving at the end of the season. But it gives a little bit of a rest to Vancharov. Hansen Aaron playing out inside winger on the left into the final 5 minutes, and this game's just about over the line, and we're going to be into what is a quarter-final. So excellent result, good start to the episode, comprehensive victory, controlled the possession. Codriano's outperforming his XG. I think that's fantastic. Again, we need a few more goals to go through. I can't quite remember who we got in the next round. Don't know if it says on here. It might not have even been drawn yet. But I'll click us through and get ready for the next game. And we've got Codriano being scouted by Man City and Newcastle. We don't want to lose him to either of them. You're talking hundreds of millions to get rid of him, but we don't want him to go. So I'll click through, get us ready for the next game. Stay tuned. We'll see if we can run that form into a league game. Welcome back for the second match, which is a league game away at Leicester. We have picked up a couple of little extra niggly injuries. Juve's picked up a minor tweak in the middle of the park. We've had to bring Diallo in at centre half. Kopp's got a bit of an injury. Even Ways is not quite recovered. He's probably not going to make the quarterfinals against Valencia. That's who we drew in the cup. Aliu's picked up a little knock, and Tobaloglu's got one as well. So we're really at the bare bones here. Starting lineup then, we've got Romero in goals. We've got Mercier, Calderon, Diallo and Shahar across the back four. Johnson remains in the deep role. We've got Diouf and Hansen Aaron playing in the middle of the park. Johnson on the left, Codriano comes in on the right hand side, and Medina will start up top. Playing with a balanced mentality again, looking to play with a slightly higher tempo this time round. Hopefully we can break them down early doors and get a little bit of creative freedom, but we really need to pick up some points. So anything short of a victory probably isn't enough as we push towards the end of the season. Their recent form, 4 wins and a loss, that's pretty good. I don't think we quite match that. We're looking a bit leggy in certain areas of the pitch. We've had a lot of cup games recently. The European adventures hampered us a little bit. We are trying to sign a couple more young, promising players, which I think is the way to go to flesh out the squad. But we're really limited in what our strongest first team 11 is, and outside of that, we're starting to struggle a little bit. I'm going to go positive early on today because I really don't think anything other than a victory is going to do us as we go a goal down early on against Leicester, and this might be legs just doing us out here. I think I've struggled to maintain the pace throughout the season. We're not quite as creative as I think we should be, bearing in mind we have a world-class striker, a couple who are just on the verge of world-class. I think this midfield area needs a bit of a revamp in the summer, as Johnson swaps for Aliu fairly early on, just through fatigue. Calderon's probably not going to last the game either. Hansen Aaron's flagging already. We're not quite at half time, but yeah, we're going to have to do something for the second half. Shooting's not been good enough. Let's go attacking. Let's go for a shoot on sight and see if we can get ourselves back on the score sheet. Medina not having the greatest of games, probably not seeing too much of the ball. Our play's not been particularly great. And again, XG wise, we're better off. We're just not winning, and that's going to come back to bite us later on in the season. It doesn't even look like we're going to get a chance the way it's going at the minute, unless we can pick up the ball here. Good header by Mercier, drives it forward to Johnson. He'll break down. He's come right across to the right hand side. Feeds it into Codriano. He puts it back to Juve, who gets one back. We've got about 17 minutes left to go to try and get a second. We're going to carry on attacking. Great run by Johnson right the way across the pitch. Found the player in Codriano to take it into the box. Juve left unmarked at the penalty spot and he tapped it home. Hopefully we can get the ball back. We can get going and maybe just eke out a second. Medina for Vinweiser because he's flagging up front. Final 10 minutes. Can we get a bit of a comeback and get some 3 points on the board here? Calderon for Olander. I called it. I didn't think he would make it the full game. Johnson will deliver a corner. Oh, we've hit the crossbar. Not quite able to get over the line. It would have been a bit of a smash and grab, really. I mean, we've picked up a lot of shots in the second half. Maybe we have to just go a little bit more attacking and let the reins off some of these attacking players. But a point's not the end of the world. It was a good comeback from where we were. We created a lot more in the second half, which has given me food for thought in terms of how we approach the play. Maybe balanced isn't the way we go. Maybe we just go full on attack from the word go. We're currently 6th in the European spots. We're only 5 points behind Chelsea, who we still have to play. So there is an outside chance, and we'll see where we go. Hopefully you've enjoyed the episode. It's been a bit of an update into where we're going, how we're doing in the season. We've still got a few things to play for. And when we come back for the final episode of the season, I'd love it if we had another little cup final or a Champions League game to play for. In terms of transfers, I'll just give you a quick update on the 2 extra players we've gone for. They're on the next gen list. So Walter Chavez, trying to get in from Godboy Cruz. I think he's in Argentina. Again, initially his stats look pretty good. We've not got a full look on him, but we're going to try and snap him up at a relatively cheap price, 4.9 million. And Emil Larsson, another midfielder. Again, he's got him only signed as a last resort, but for just a little snip of a player, a bit of a squad filler, 18 years old. We'll get him in there, turn him for a profit and kick him back out again if he doesn't develop in the way we want. Once again, thanks for watching. Don't forget to stick a like on the video, stick the bell on it if you want to make sure you don't miss the next episode or how far we go on as the seasons progress. I don't think there's anything in terms of a job offer coming up anytime soon. We are rated quite highly, but I don't think there's anything really big. I mean, the Liverpool job's on there. I don't know if I could bear that as an Everton fan to take the Liverpool job. I think that would be a no from me. But I don't know if there's anything in the insecure bracket. Ipswich, Leeds, Sheffield United, probably not ones we want. But yeah, until next time, take care, enjoy yourselves, enjoy your Football Manager saves. Hope you had a good Easter, and I will catch you again soon.